And we will be placing all of these webinars on our HPGS or Hawaii Pacific Gerontological Society YouTube channel. Also, lastly, please subscribe to our YouTube channel that we get notices whenever our webinars are posted on our channel. Okay, so Miss Annette Pang, we're actually here in Manoa, beautiful Manoa. So thank you very much, Annette. It's all you.
Thank you very much, Percy, and to you, everybody out there, for joining us today for the Hawaii Pacific Gerontological Society webinar. I can't tell you how excited I am. One thing, we're using the peacekeeping parlor here, where I have workshops for my students, and we meet here different times of the day and night so that we can discuss their situation. And sometime maybe you'll be coming as well. Percy, thank you so much again. He is the paradigm shifter for people who are aging and all their families. Through his magazine, Generations magazine, and consultant for reverse mortgages, he is really claiming and staking territory for you guys to be really, really sure-footed out there as you go through this process. Also, a shout out to Pamela Ani, certified dementia practitioner. She has helped me with the slides that are coming up soon, so stay tuned. Want to ask you, if you are going through this right now, then you can find out if you're in the right place. Are you silently suffering with physical ailments? Are you doing chores alone and no one's helping you? Are you arguing with siblings and others? Stay tuned if you want to stop your burnout, boost your stamina, vitality, improve your health, carve out time and freedom in your day, and absolutely love every minute serving, nurturing, and facing whatever happens to come along in your family. So right now, sit back. I don't know where you are. Put your feet up, sip a cup of coffee or tea, and just relax if you can do that. And while you're there, maybe you're in your home, maybe you're in your office, let's go to your kitchen. And I just want to use the kitchen as a metaphor for the gathering place for family caregivers. One thing about the kitchen is where families have to go when they're visiting their loved ones or when they're living with their loved ones. And if we mentally go to your pantry where you see your sugar and spice, I want to talk about that right now, because that is a symbol of relationships between aging parents and their loved ones. Spicy folks, like loved ones, are sometimes angry, feisty, crusty, salty, and they're mad because they're stuck in the wheelchairs or walkers and they don't want to be in diapers. Can you relate to that? They are grumpy, and oftentimes the family caregivers have to deal with them. They have to pacify them, they have to make them feel good. And you out there as family caregivers are trying to be their sweethearts, trying to hold up the energy and say, Dad, don't worry, I'll take you to the bathroom. But at the same time, maybe seething underneath because you're getting scolding a lot. What I want to do is to go to the kitchen sink right now. And the kitchen sink is where a lot happens between you and your family. I know in my case, I have to stand in the kitchen where everybody is, my back to them, and sometimes I have tears coming down my eyes. Let me tell you why. My children, who are very well-meaning, loving children, will come back and visit me because they're adults now. And they'll come in my kitchen and then just sweep all my beloved poke containers from Foodland and Costco and Safeway. And they think they're helping me clean up my kitchen. And they're just throwing away things that they think are rusty and think that don't work. And I'm like, zip my lip, because I don't want to tell them not to do that, because they might not want to come back to Hawaii anymore. So in the past, that's what I did. And when I have to admit to you, when I was standing at the kitchen sink, little tears would come down my eyes. So the kitchen sink is a place where not only people chop, prepare food, but they also have a lot of sadness because they don't know what to say, or they don't know how to cope with a situation that's really challenging. Another one of my instances was between me and my mother-in-law. And my mother-in-law found out she had pancreatic cancer in February. And we tried all kinds of things. And I said, please take antibiotics and drink your kale juice and do all these things that I thought would help her. And she just looked at me and said, no, Annette, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to refuse everything and let's see what happens. And I stood at the sink with my back to everyone, just tearing, bawling. So if my sink could talk, it would have stories, and yours would too. Just yummy and crummy stories. And about 3 weeks later, my mother-in-law died. So that's the kind of thing that happens around the sink. So what we're going to do today is to look at your whole kitchen, look at the pots boiling on your stove, and I'm going to blow the lids off your pots to give you brand new ideas about caregiving and how you relate to your family. So we're going to switch from the cloudy clam chowder that you usually have to the really transparent and accountable clear chicken soup. And I don't know if you've read that book before, Chicken Soup for the Soul, because it heals and soothes your heart and soul. Now, I've been fortunate through Perry's connections and Pamela's introductions to appear on many places: television, radio, Alzheimer's Association, Project Donna, Generations Magazine. And a lot of all of this is the best age of information that you can read about and learn about from your armchair, through your computer. You can just go to google.com and you can find out everything you need to know. And I want to let you know that I just had a very bad inner ear infection, and the inner ear infection was like welling up, and I had to learn how to use a neti pot. And I don't know if you use one, but you can stick it up your nose. I went on YouTube and I learned how to use a neti pot from a 6-year-old girl. And so that was really cool. But what I'm up to as a relationship transformational coach is to help people go through point A to point B and XYZ, to shift their mind, welcome new viewpoints, and be able to carry out and relate to others and themselves in a brand new way. So as a coach and a speaker, author, workshop leader, and former elementary school teacher, I help people make that transformation. Yesterday was the age of information. Tomorrow is the age of transformation. So as an owner of 2 beautiful care homes in Manoa for 17 years, I have friends from them and friends from the workshop. Here's Millie, and believe me, she is thriving and beautiful at 106 years old today. She's dancing the energy dance, and she's just really eating on her own and just vibrant. And here's Ruth. Ruth has turned 100. She plays piano every single day for us. And then here are some of you from my workshops doing energy dances. So that's what we do. If you want to know more about me, because a lot of people say, I don't want to be coached. I don't believe this. I'm fine the way I am. Let me just tell you that I idolize Mother Teresa, who saw the goodness in everyone. And what I really do is to open lines of communication in families. I help the people who are heroes, I help the black sheep, and I help the people who are fugitives, where they leave the family because they can't stand them. And I can be a pit bull. I won't quit. I help people cope instead of escape. And at 70 years old, I'm proud to say I'm a bona fide card-carrying baby boomer, because I believe we can change the world. So who are you? Are you the hyper sugar plum fairy, just spending hours and emotional support, loving your parents to death? Will you end up in the hospital yourself from exhaustion? Because 60% of people do. Are you searching for your care, your own care, for prayers, for relief, because this caring is destroying you? And are you dreading your future because your life is upside down? Here is a typical family, and these sketches were done by Pamela Ani, and she was inspired to do this after attending my workshop, so some of you may have already seen it. But what happens is when everybody gathers in the family car, there's dad at the wheel, mom sitting next to him, and all the kids in the back, and they're going to Costco, they're going to the beach, they're going to barbecues, they're going to soccer, church, and they're having a great time. But what happens when mom and dad are now forced to go into the wheelchair? They're sitting in back of the van, they can no longer drive, and this leaves your driver's seat empty. Who's going to sit there? Some people may even ditch. They don't want to stay around, and they're walking away and running. Other members are still hanging in, but they're zoned out wearing their headphones because they're not present. The family's journey is really bumpy. There are people like the firstborn who might be bossy, or the baby who might be grumbly, or the backseat driver. Who's going to take the driver's wheel? People have a hard time adjusting because it means that they have to communicate now. Mom and dad can no longer be the bosses, although they might be grumbling from behind. And the whole journey of this family now goes along with flat tires, fender benders. They might be just zapped without any energy anymore, and people aren't happy as campers. And unfortunately, time doesn't stay still for anybody. Even as they're deciding who's going to sit in the driver's seat, who's going to watch mom and dad, who's going to take them to doctors, who's going to do the family will, who's going to look at reverse mortgages with Percy. This is the kind of thing that plagues a family, but time marches on because the next car is the family hearse, and they're driving to mom and dad's tombstone. And it is well known that 99% of all elders at their deathbed want one wish, and that's family peace. So let's look at your family. How are you doing? Do you need help? Do you have to call 911? Is that how you're going to patch up your family? Moms and dads pray for peace and beg for it, but they feel hopeless due to pain and struggling. Many smart families like you feel self-pity and disconnected for many years. Doctors say that hospitals are living morgues. People are lying there, and many families don't come to say goodbye. Graveyards are filled with folks sobbing, saying, I'm sorry, because they never had a chance to fix broken hearts. And now they feel guilt and regret and remorse. So what does your family go through? Do they fumble or have fun? Are you and your family able to pivot points of view so that you can refresh yourselves and just not be on like, you did a bad thing here, you spent all the money, you never show up? Are you able to pivot? Are you able to create new habits in your family so that you can be able to go about a new task putting away your old baggage, but using new ways to go about cooperating and negotiating? Are you able to manage diversities that happen within your family so that we can accept the guy who just feels like he doesn't want to spend any money and he wants to give mom health food stuff from the garden, to somebody who says, oh no, give her the hum-ha pork because she likes char siu bao? I mean, how do people handle it where somebody says, I can't stand to see mom because she's getting older and I just want to remember her as the way she was standing and cooking at my sink? Or you have somebody saying, hey, we got to do something right now because mom is going downhill. Everybody has to collaborate together. What I do as a coach is to bring families together so that they accept each other, they tolerate each other, they appreciate each other, and most of all, they can forgive each other. So your family might be coping or crashing. Are they winging it, or are they using a GPS system? Do you know it is possible? I've spoken to many, many families, over 1,000 on stage, and directly many more after that. It's possible to stop drama and trauma in your family. It's possible to release the pressure and to maintain your tip-top condition and understand others so that you don't cave in. It's possible to elevate your skills so that you have harmony in your family and you can speak kindly to each other and build teams. But all of that means that you have to stay true to your own dreams and not cave in and not feel like this is the end of your life as well, because you still have a lot to go. In your third age of life, this is what I call YOLO, which is you only live once. So family caregivers, the question is today, who is going to take care of you? And the answer is, behind drum roll door number 3, it's you. You need to take care of yourself. It's all your responsibility and accountability. But you might say, gee, how do I do that? What steps do I take? Well, that's where I'm going to give you new ideas because you can do it. I'm going to help you open mind and spirit today, embrace a winning attitude Stretch beyond your comfort zone. Be flexible because life happens. Pray because a spiritual power is invisible and miracles do happen. Wake up your YOLO. And we want to tell you that you can save yourself using the care, prayer, and relief. You remember when I stood by the kitchen sink and I did not know what to say to my kids and my mother-in-law? And I didn't have the words to continue the conversation. I just kind of turned around and felt self-pity. Well, I discovered through a long search the secret sauces to be able to have your daily safety net so you can maintain a high level of energy even though stuff's crashing around you and you get those flat tires and people reject you or they argue with you and disagree. We can do 2 secret sauces that keep up your whole stamina. And here's the first one, your hour of power. Each day, what I help my clients do is to create a physical and emotional stabilization plan. And this tool is to help you become the CEO and manager of your life, not somebody who's like a doormat with people wiping all over you. You now take actual responsibility for everybody and plot them into different slots so that you can maintain your own credibility and your own leadership. We also help you with self-healing and exercise and breathing and self-care, and 2 extra squirts on this hour of power right here that you see on my graph. I don't want to go into detail because I can give this to you online in a free course that I offer. But you see on the very far left, it says time, where it totals an hour. And then what I do in that time, you describe the action right there. You rank it if it's urgent or ongoing. And this is the secret sauce, folks. You note how you're feeling. Are you feeling crappy, happy, scared, confused, worried, blame? If you notice my own hour of power, I felt peaceful, I felt stiff, I felt silly, I felt powerful, I felt relieved, I felt powerful. I felt crabby at one time when I was thinking about something. I want all my clients and you, even though you're not my client and you don't want to work with me, I want you to take home something right now that you can start assessing immediately. How are you feeling today? Are you feeling worried about the future? Are you feeling like we're going to run out of money? Those are the kinds of things that you can do immediately. And the next thing is really important is who can help me? This is not on somebody's time management spreadsheet often. The feeling part and who can help me. So if you know, I put down my sisters can help me, Lisa and Bobby. I can take action on my own. I can help I can get help from Jenny and Jan. I can get help from Carol and Robert and Doreen. I can use my own active pressure points and I can use my own self-reflection. But right now I want to say Percy Ihara is an amazing tag team member. I want to help him and he wants to help me. We could not put this on today without his help, Pamela's help, Shay's help, who's sitting here in the corner, monitoring everything on the tech support. We have to build a team. And in my workshop, I gave a lecture where I met one family who is an amazing team already, the Nakasone family. Shirley and Jackson, mom and dad, were taking care of Shirley's sister. And then Shirley's brother helped, Shirley's kids helped, and Cass Nakasone's, who also I found out is an orthopedic surgeon, he helped, and his sister helped. Everybody moved together like a tag team to help. Nobody did the same things. Some people did the books. Some people did cooking. Some people did cleaning. Some people massaged Shirley. Some people wheeled her around. Some people drove her around. Some people were really in the background, didn't do very much, but they were there to support everybody else so that they could listen and not reject all the little things that were going on. So that's what we want to build. And this hour of power chart is powerful. It looks like nothing, but what it does is to take time for yourself, because you've got to care for yourself now. Take time for yourself to do a scan of your body. You do a scan of your mind and your feelings. You you look at who can be your tag team. You look at who you can call to help you. Because if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't attract the tag team, I tell you, you're not going to do very well caregiving for a whole new other person who needs you desperately. And most often and always the case, they are going to pass. And that is totally very, very difficult. And it's an emotional. So the secret sauce for the next is Wi-Fi. And it's not the Wi-Fi that you're connected to right now with your computer. It's your Wi-Fi to connect to others and yourself. The W in Wi-Fi means to watch. And I really want you to watch yourself and others from new eyes. Instead of assuming, well, my sister is lazy, or my brother is so bossy and he always wants his way. I want you to step 2 steps back always and start noticing and watching others. The second part to Wi-Fi is imagining what you and others are thinking. So I could say, gee, to my brother, I know you want to get mom on Sundays, and I know that you're free on Sundays because after church you're not doing very much. But I imagine that you really can't do other days, and is that true? And then you can begin conversations with them. And then you can say, well, I really feel that you might be dominating mom because other people want to take her out on Sundays. And then you can start opening conversations instead of saying to your brother or someone, you only want to take Sundays, right? You're really hogging up the week because everybody else wants to visit on Sundays too. Can't you come another day or another night? So the conversations begin shifting, and if you use Wi-Fi, you develop your intuition to connect on deeper levels. So right now I want to take a break and see if anybody has questions, because you can just type in the chat room and Percy and Shay can monitor this for you, and then I can have a drink of water. Thank you. No questions, let's move on. So the secret sauce right now might be a blur to you. The spreadsheet might be a blur because we're going so quickly and I really want to watch our time. I will have more of it in a free online course that's going to be unveiled in the beginning of April, mid-April, and you can learn really and dig down deep in the free online course. This is what's going to happen in the course. The first lesson, I'm going to have 5 free lessons for anybody who wants to learn about it. And it's really based on brand new research on gut health, tapping, happy hormones, your nervous system, detoxification, and it would really, really help you to give yourself longevity. Is there a question? Okay, so the first lesson we go into, it's your time, because you really, really want to focus on yourself. The second one is how longevity is displayed here in yourself and around the world. Do you know that there's 4 blue zones in the world that were determined and deemed by National Geographic and the National Institute of Aging? In 2005, Dan Buettner went around the world to figure out where there are people living the longest, not because they're taking meds and not because they're being fed by tubes, but they're living longest in the world just so that they can live vibrantly. And what they found for the research was 4 different areas of living longest: Sardinia, Okinawa, Loma Linda, and Costa Rica. And they found out that people live longest there because they eat really well and they're happy. They don't hold grudges. They have a community to work with. They talk story and they pray. So care, prayers, and relief are all of that. And what blue zones will do is to teach you with stories about how you can do this for yourself and bring this into your own body and to your own home. And on my online course, I want to interview Tina Stewart on the Big Island because she's working with Blue Zones to develop that in Hawaii. And I also want to tell you about lesson 3, where we do body tapping and gut healing. And I want to show you this new rod that I do, which I push into my tummy, and it helps belly button healing, and it changes bowel movement, and it really helps circulation because it helps people who are bedridden to all of a sudden stand up. The next is the inner game, where we do instant comfort, and we do that through essential oils like peppermint, and we go into have you ever listened to Baroque music? Did you know that Baroque music instantly changes brain waves? And if you listen to Bach and Baroque music and you go to YouTube, you can instantly feel comfort. So the tapping, listening, serving yourself, eating, knowing about longevity can keep you up in your hour of power. And what we do in this first CPR course is to help you create your own hour of power stabilization plan. So I hope that you sign up maybe mid-April, and it's free of charge for you. And I just want you to read what Carol wrote to me. She's a happy camper because she wrote, I worked with her, coaching her, and she says, "Dear Annette, I wish I met you sooner. It's quieter in our house again. My mom, sisters, and I aren't tiptoeing around anymore. Mom says I'm the only one who understands her now. In a short time, I learned how to use words and phrases that brought cooperation, even though we don't see eye to eye. I can honestly devote my life to care for Mom now. Plus, remember to anchor myself because I'm not going to let my own dreams slip away from me again. YOLO, you only live once, and I feel stronger every day." This is Carol from Mililani. And this is the kind of transformation that we make in a person, and then they can spread it out to their family. So this YOLO is going to set you and be ready for you to fortify yourself so you can welcome new events that happen. You can pivot your thoughts and feel calm and settled. You can escape with staycations every single day. You don't have to go away to Las Vegas, or you don't have to go to a cruise. You can right now stay in your own home and do a staycation as you're washing dishes. And staycations are based on your YOLO plan, because when you do your YOLO plan, you now can fill your bucket list. And that can refresh and invigorate yourself even as you're helping Mom, feeding her and pleading to take the medication, trying to wipe her, trying to bathe her. While you're going through that, you can immediately switch your little mind out there to that staycation that you've set up, because your bright future can really be reinstated. And if you're suddenly alone because spouses have passed or your parents are gone, you can still go according to your plan to jumpstart, lift your wings, and awaken your third age, because you're still alive and vigorous. So family caregivers, do you need help or do you hurt? Are you listening to each other, or you're babbling, or you're trying to jockey for everyone's attention? Are you restoring and repairing broken hearts in your family as well as yourself? Or you're just letting them stew and fester and just say, "Oh, good for them," because I've heard of that too. Are you able to let go of your loved ones with a supersized send-off? And when I went to my auntie's bedside at Straub Hospital, Auntie Anna, 2 years ago, we called the family and we sang to her, we massaged her, we laughed, we cried, we remembered, we hugged, we kissed. We told her that we couldn't tell her how much we loved going to her house on Maui. because I spent a lot of my summers there. And we were just making so much noise that the doctor came in and he said, "Oh, hi, everybody." And I apologized. I said, "I am sorry, we're just making a huge ruckus. And we're just like noisy here." And he says, "Go right ahead. I can't tell you how our hospital rooms are filled with people who don't get anybody visiting, who just have to sort of go alone through this process." So I want to ask you, family caregivers, are you helping out, or are you just so hurt, and or you're destroying your family situation? I want you to know that you can perpetuate and honor family life cycles in humane ways so that people aren't crashing and burning as time goes on. After all, there's a DNA that you share with everyone. And you can't ignore the fact that you're born together. And mom and dad didn't give birth to people who she said, "Oh, they're going to be fighting with each other someday over my jewelry or over the house or how they want to take care of me." She didn't raise little newborn babies to be a family this way. And I want to let you know that it's universal that conflicts occur, because you're all born to become independent and you're all born to have your own opinion. But what happens when you have to come together and you don't know how to collaborate? This is where I ask you to be the master of your universe. Remember to be the CEO and driving your own car. I want you to accept and forgive and overrule those emotional roller coasters that will come up in your life. No one is immune. You're all going to have that happening in your life. And I want you to be able to rekindle those small kid days. Remember when you and your brothers and sisters used to climb trees and used to eat shaved ice together and used to be silly and go to the beach and have barbecues? I want you to be able to rekindle that giddiness and really create feelings that are priceless, but somehow get so separated because we grow up and we have to have our own families, or we grow up and we have to pay mortgages and start working, or we have our own hardships that have a hard time and start dominating our life. If you can really bring in your small kid days and just kind of have fun again, it would be really super, especially as you're transitioning in your family. And the next thing I want to say is your tone and your messages to each other are really something that can be looked at, and we practice a lot. We invite people who might be very, very estranged from each other. I remember there was one family who had some siblings estranged from mom, and mom was on her deathbed. And through the tone we used and letters we wrote and messages we gave, we were able to invite them back at bedside, to massage her toes, to stroke her hair, to tell her loved her. And that's the kind of thing we do. So I want you to have skills, newborn skills, not to let life happen to you, but for you to rule your life. Put everybody on your chessboard. You know, chessboards have certain ways of behaving, right? The king, the pawn, the queen, the bishop. I want you to be able to put people who are going to be your tag teammates on the chessboard so that they can interact in ways that are their strengths and not their weaknesses. If you asked me to do this webinar today and manage the computer, you would not be seeing anything, because I know that's not my strength. So I want you to become the CEO, master of your universe, so you can become responsible, not play the victim, welcome everybody, anything that comes along, and be a blessing to each other and the world. So why am I so passionate? I've pledged my life to inspire this priceless feeling of exhilaration. I saw one person who was ready to go, hugging teddy bear, asking for a family to come, because the doctor said it would be maybe less than a week. And we called every day to get siblings to come, and no one came. And while we gave a great send-off, they didn't come because of a very ancient, unfinished, unhealed wound that they had. And it was over money, and it was over somebody married the wrong person in the family and all of that. And it was so sad because they think, okay, forget about it, let her go. But they forget that in their minds, it's a seamless consciousness. And I want to let you know, and you might have had this experience, in your dreams, you're still connected to people who are long gone. So I don't want that to happen to anybody. And I don't want to put a little Band-Aid on. I want to have a permanent fix where people can make the shift to change habits, to unlock preconceived notions, to really assess where they are and how they might be creating their own disposition and their own life around them. Through that, transformation is possible. I see it every single day in my work, and it sets you free because you can live and die without regrets. You only have one shot, and I want you to be able to live fully before mom and dad go. You have one shot to live this life. And you might say, well, I don't know about this. Gee, I mean, like my husband will even say, Annette, are you coaching me? I have to remember, oh yeah, I have to use the right tone. Because even though you might have a hard time communicating with someone right now or accepting something that's happened, if I can open one little crack in your mindset and your disposition and help you to see another point of view, that in itself to me will be living out my purpose. And I want to add you to my list of people who are really out there to learn, really out there to change and live a different way so that they can just achieve amazingly bucket lists in their YOLO. You only live once. So I invite you to go to my website and try my courses. Many are free, and if you feel that you didn't get any satisfaction, I give money back, no questions asked. So I have a guarantee, because I like to give people deep care and relief and become champions, become masters of their universe. So I hope you sense my sincerity today, because I don't want anyone to pass up this chance to really live fully. There's no other chance to do it when someone's passed on. You can't bring it up anymore. I don't, unless you go to a seance person and say, I want to communicate with the dead. But right now is the time to do it. I know Percy and his family are totally giving their parents who travel to Las Vegas, who love to get together, talk story, and have potlucks. He's doing his share to have a beautiful, forgiving family. I'm doing my share, meeting my siblings who, one lives in New York, one lives here, with my in-laws. Everyone I touch, all the residents and their families, I just want to have lives that are forever enriched, because I feel that even though conflicts will come up, and believe me, they will. That's how life is. We have a conflict, and we know how to solve. And we know how to solve, and we know how to heal. If you can do that automatically without saying, oh my gosh, that's it, I'm never going to talk to her again. I'm never going to look at her again. I'm wiping her off my Facebook. She's no longer a friend. Whatever it is possible to build up that healing so that you build this humanity with each other, and that you're able to really be a blessing to the world. So thanks for signing up to the webinar today. I know it was hard for many of you because you didn't have a computer. I heard many of you ask for how we can do this. you can send questions along. There's that free CPR class. And as a gift for attending today, Pamela did a little cuddly bear. And it's going to be available on the 5th of April, where you can click on and you can see her build a cuddly bear from a towel. And she does a lot of bears. She does it in all colors and all ribbon colors for her grandchildren and for people who are going through coaching. And if you are able to get that on April 5th, you'll learn how to do that and give it to somebody and say, I love you. Then if you want to know more about how to go deeply into the CPR course and learn about blue zones and hear about the healing wand and hear about how you can build your calendar for your hour of power on April 15th, that will be available. Percy's going to tell you more details later for how to get this replay. And my pilot's going to start for YOLO on May 12th, and I'm going to have a live free workshop around May 17th, probably here because a lot of people could not attend here on the computer. So mahalo, and God bless you for all you do for yourself and your family. Want you to send your questions now. Just ask any questions, and Percy, turn it over to you. Thank you.
Yes, on the top left of the screen, on top here, there's a Q&A tab there. Click on that and send in a question. Oh, here's one question right now.
Okay.
Let's see here. Okay. How do you get your siblings to share equally the responsibility of caring for our parents and who live with one sibling and not just based on their convenience? Good question. Very common question. Last weekend, AARP did a workshop at Japanese Cultural Center, had over 500 people attend. 50 we had to be turned away. We were maxed out in the room. It's really about financial long-term care. And I always told people that care does not mean equal. It just doesn't happen. But Annette, could you address that question?
Absolutely. Because remember now, some people don't have the same talents. I did not take my parents to the bathroom, but my sister did. And but I could do other things for them. I could run errands. I had big parties where we can, have potlucks. So everybody has to be assessed, first of all, on the chessboard. Figure out where everybody's strength is and weaknesses are. And when you're able to do that, you can now share your information and start inviting people. Instead of saying, when are you going to take a shift and how are you going to handle mom? You just say, let's say your sister's name is Cindy. Cindy and Douglas, I am noticing that my energy is getting drained. I'm really getting tired, and mom is requiring more help now. I'd like to see if there's any possibility for me to invite you to join in sharing how I can have this workload a little more equalized. Because now you're the master CEO and you're an equalizer, you're not the victim. And then they say, well, I don't have any time, or I'm doing this, or I travel to the mainland. Just say, well, you know what I did? I imagine that this would happen. And I feel that there might be a little bit of a way that you could do this. See, you notice I'm inviting them all the time. And I feel that even though you might not want to cook for mom or take her to the market or take her to a friend's funerals, could you do something else so that even though it's not equal, we can all have input from Cindy, from Doug, from me, so that everybody adds to the mix. And if you're able to handle this whole family like a CEO and be realistic that not everybody's going to have the same amount of energy, the same amount of consumption, you'll be able to plot them so that they can all use their strengths. And if it's really, really hard to go ahead and ask them to listen to you, please call me. 566-5067, because I can give you some private coaching immediately. Just like I helped this other person who says nobody comes to visit. And I said, wait a minute, you now have a lot of power in you and you just forgot about it. And instead of talking as a victim, I want you to talk as a person who's going to help alleviate everybody's workload. One little more tip, and if you don't mind, I'm sorry, because I see more questions coming up. One tip too is that when people are asked to help, like Cindy and Doug, they're afraid that they're going to have to take 2 shifts in the night, that mom's got to live with them, that they got to do this, and they're afraid that it's going to go on and on and on. So you could start saying, you know, I noticed that here's some jobs to do, maybe mom's books, or maybe help sort the closet and declutter. You don't need to do all of this work. And if you can come Saturdays or maybe Wednesday night, but only stay 15 minutes, do you think you can do that for me? And they would say, 15 minutes? Yeah, I can handle that. And then just say, and I promise you, we're not going to be grumbling. We're going to be laughing. We're going to be looking at picture albums. We're going to do something that's going to be really fun. So if you give them a finite task to do, and you assess who's doing it, when, where, you'll be more successful. So Percy, you want to do the next question?
Well, all these webinars for HPGS will be on our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube channel, search Hawaii Pacific Gerontological Society, and you'll pop up there. If you want to get automatic messages when the webinars are posted, subscribe to our channel. This webinar will be up in a couple of days. This is about 3 or 4 days to get it up in our webinar, up on our YouTube channel. But search it, Hawaii Pacific Gerontological Society. We should have some other old ones from last year, 2016, up there as well. To get the slides directly from Annette, you probably want to email Annette.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because it won't be on YouTube?
Yeah. No, the show will be on YouTube with all the slides, but if you want just the slide, where would they go?
Oh, okay. I'll tell my webmaster to get the slides somehow. Yeah, I'll put it on my website. How's that?
Annette
Pang. Okay. Right, Annette Pang.
2 N's, 2 T's.
Right.
Okay. And Pamela had one last question.
Pamela, I want you all to know that I could not be doing this webinar without these beautiful sketches and Pamela Ani, who is there in Hilo, and she's listening today. She did the sketches, and she was so moved because during one of the presentations I made at the Pagoda, she immediately took my little chicken scratch and she turned it into beautiful masterpieces. I probably can distribute each one for people's placemats right now. They could say, hey, there I am running out of the car. But these sketches that Pamela did depict the family that's struggling. And yes, 3 people might want to be fighting for that driver's seat and driver's wheel, wanting to take the load. And definitely they cannot negotiate, and they can't all be the boss and be the Indian chiefs. I'm dealing with a family like that right now. One person, especially the person who's coached, can now be the leader to calm everyone down and be the peacekeeper and be noticing them from a higher level of skill building and assessment so that they can slot everybody in, cool the hot head down, bring the person who's not saying too much up further, and just kind of bring peace of mind. So that's the kind of skill building we do when we can work further into how we can build a team. And the tag team is amazing because you cannot ever do something alone. After this, we all have some place to go to. And I always know, whenever I look at anything now, I always say, who am I going to call to be my partners? Who's going to help me? Who's going to help me pick up this? And who's going to help me sing to my residents? Who's going to help me do my energy dance? Who's going to help me do my sketches? And Pamela has this amazing cuddly bear. If on April 5th you click on, you'll see her building this when she was at the Alzheimer's Association. It's so adorable. And this is what you can give to your tag team. Just say, I love you so much. I hear you. I see you. I feel you. And I just want you to know that I so appreciate you being here with me to take care of mom. I can't thank you enough. I am so grateful. That's how you handle your tag team, with white gloves, with the best heart, your best intention and soul. Okay, Percy, how's this question?
Somebody mentioned that you couldn't hear me speaking. Can you hear me speaking now? Oh, okay. Anyway, the webinars will be posted on our YouTube channel. So go to YouTube channel, search Hawaii Pacific Gerontological Society, and you can find all our past webinars there. We are currently scheduling our April, May, and June webinars very shortly, so look out for that email and register for those. So we had a total of 65 attend today. And Annette, can you give your phone number again and email?
Okay, very good. So if you need to contact me, just go to AnnettePang.com. That's my website. And you'll see my CPR course starting April 15th so that you can log on and learn the 5 lessons. You can also see Pamela Ani's Little Care Bear on April 5th. You can hear the webinar. I'm going to get my slides up for you. That's a really, really good idea. And you can come to a workshop that I want to have, free workshop in my peacekeeping parlor, because I know a lot of people aren't able to attend the webinar today. You can also call me at 566-5067, 566-5067, and you can email me at ap@annettepang.com. Oh yes, and I have the beautiful Generations magazine where Percy has changed the culture of aging to provide for you information today, from exercise. Use my column and read about me there. I am in Generations magazine every single month, and I plan to do that and perhaps get more ad space later. Oh, I just want to mention to you, a lot of people have a hard time when elders all of a sudden start standing up and then they fall down. And the fall risk is a thing that can actually lead to death and crippling. So it is important when you see your parent a little feeble, and just feebly, is that such a word? They're feeble and they can't manage their steps any longer in the shower or getting out of the bed. I want you to know that there's ways that you can monitor them with different alarm systems. And Pamela Ani, who is a consultant for this, can help you look at how you can get out of the bed. As soon as you step on a bed pad, everybody will be alerted. As soon as they want to stand up, everybody will be alerted. These are the kinds of things that we take pains to watch and do in our care home, because we don't want anyone to fall down. So we're there, we overcompensate. But sometimes your parent who looks really vibrant and alive all of a sudden starts getting to a place where they're just deteriorating and you didn't realize it, and they stand up and then they fall, or you find them on the floor. This is when you can start planning now to get systems in place so that you get your grab bars up, you get your alarm system up, and you really help them to build an environment that could help them through their aging process. So just want to say that. So Percy, anything else?
No, thank you very much, everybody, for attending. I really appreciate the time.
Thanks,
Please
Percy.
spread the word. We can attend up to 500 people, so please email your friends, neighbors, people from church, your coworkers, anybody. You do not have to be a member of HPGS or the UH Public Health group there. So thank you very much. This will end the webinar. It will be posted on our webinar YouTube channel very shortly, so check that out. Okay? If you have any questions, give her a call or email Annette. So thank you very much, everybody. Listen, have a great weekend and live well.
Bye.